You know, the number one predictor of long-term failure is believing that growth is linear. But what if I told you the secret mechanic that billion-dollar companies use turns one single buyer into 10 by designing a system where the customer literally becomes your acquisition agent? This isn't just some theory, it's the core of what we're going to break down today. See, the old way of thinking, that comfortable idea that one more dollar in ads gets you one more customer, that whole model is breaking down. It's an illusion that has become incredibly expensive and, let's be honest, completely unsustainable for most businesses.
So let's just completely re-engineer how we think about this. Instead of constantly hunting for that next customer, what if we built a system where our existing customers did the hunting for us? I mean, really think about that. This isn't just a fun thought experiment, it's the actual engine driving some of the fastest growing companies on the entire planet. They've figured out a fundamental truth that so many others have missed.
And this right here, this brings us to the great paradox of the modern economy. We pour millions, sometimes billions, into optimizing this straight line. We call it the sales funnel, believing the journey just ends with a purchase. But we're missing the most powerful piece of the puzzle. True exponential growth isn't a line at all. It's a circle. It's a self-perpetuating loop where the end of one customer's journey is intentionally designed to be the beginning of the next one.
All right, so here's how we're going to unpack this. First, we'll talk about the end of linear growth. Then we'll go from the funnel to something called the flywheel. After that, we'll look at the self-sustaining growth engine itself, dig into the psychology of why people share, cover how to engineer this kind of growth, and finally, land on how the buyer becomes the salesperson. Okay, let's dive in.
First things first, we have to understand the problem that really forced this whole evolution in the first place. The age of cheap, easy, linear growth, well, it's over. And it ended because of one single escalating crisis: the absolutely soaring cost of getting a new customer, what we call CAC, or customer acquisition cost.
This chart really visualizes a universal pain point for so many companies. As competition gets fiercer and ad platforms get more and more saturated, the cost to get just one new person in the door has skyrocketed. That traditional funnel, the one that needs a constant injection of ad money just to work, is simply not sustainable anymore. This economic pressure created a desperate need for a new model, one that was cheap and, most importantly, one that could sustain itself.
And that need, well, it sparked a really necessary paradigm shift. It forced the smartest companies out there to move away from this leaky, inefficient funnel and to embrace a concept that's way more powerful and, frankly, way more elegant: the flywheel.
So here's the crucial difference. It's all about energy. The old funnel is all about pushing. You spend money to force people through a process, and the second they buy, it just stops. All that energy you invested just vanishes. But the flywheel is about pulling. It uses the value you deliver to a happy customer to generate its own momentum. That customer's energy doesn't disappear. It's captured and used to attract the next customer, which then adds even more energy, making the flywheel spin faster and faster all by itself.
Now, this whole flywheel idea, it isn't just a cool metaphor. It's a real engineered system. It's called the retention loop. So now we're going to pop the hood and look at the 4 critical stages that make this entire engine work.
These 4 stages form a perfect circle. First, value is delivered. Then the user takes a key action. That action triggers an invitation to share. And then, new users who join actually make the product better for everyone, which reinforces the original habit and starts the whole cycle all over again. Let's break each of these down.
Okay, so stage 1. Everything, and I mean everything, begins with genuine value. This loop cannot start unless your product is actually good. The user has to find it useful, they have to integrate it into their daily routine. This is what creates the potential energy that's going to power the whole system. Without this foundational habit, the loop breaks before it even gets a chance to start.
Next up is the trigger. The user takes a very specific, key action. Maybe they complete their profile, or create their first project, or upload a file. This investment of their time and effort shows a deeper commitment, and it's the critical event that the system is designed to look for, because it's what unlocks the next stage.
The second that key action happens, the system presents an invitation. And this isn't some annoying random pop-up, it's an integrated, contextual part of the experience. And here's the key. It's almost always tied to a mutual bonus, a clear win-win. Think about Dropbox giving you and your friend extra space when you invite them. This is how you transform a simple user action into a powerful acquisition opportunity.
And here it is. This is where the loop closes and gets its real power. When that new user joins, the product itself becomes more valuable for the original user.
I mean, sharing a document on Slack is pretty useless if no one else is on there, right? Each new person who joins adds to the network, which directly amplifies the value for everyone, reinforcing the original user's habit and making them even more likely to invite more people later. The engine is now fueling itself.
So how do we actually measure how efficient this engine is? We use something called the viral coefficient, or K-factor. The calculation is actually pretty simple. You just take the number of invitations sent by each user and multiply it by the conversion rate of those invites. In short, it tells you exactly how many new customers each of your existing customers is bringing in for you.
And this right here, this is the magic number. If your K-factor is less than 1, you're still stuck relying on traditional marketing to grow. But the moment your K-factor crosses that threshold of 1, meaning every single customer brings in at least one more customer, you have officially unlocked true compounding exponential growth. Your growth is no longer linear, it's completely self-sustaining.
Now, this elegant mathematical engine, it works so well because it's built on a really deep understanding of human psychology. It completely bypasses our natural skepticism towards advertising by tapping into much more powerful, innate human motivations.
So the loop is so effective because it leverages these core human drivers. It's powered by our desire to return a favor, our need for social connection, and our own rational self-interest. It builds habits not by force, but by making the product more valuable the more we use it with other people. You see, this is marketing that doesn't feel like marketing. It just feels like you're helping yourself and helping a friend at the same time.
Of all these psychological principles, reciprocity is really the main driver. When a company offers you a genuine, valuable bonus for sharing and then extends that same bonus to your friend, it creates this powerful, positive sense of obligation. You're not just doing the company a favor, you're doing your friend a favor, and you're doing yourself one too. This win-win-win structure is what compels a user to act, and it's what transforms them from just a passive customer into an active evangelist for your brand.
Okay, so understanding the theory and the psychology is one thing, but actually building this engine is something else entirely. So let's shift from the what and the why to the how, with a really clear, actionable framework for engineering a retention loop into pretty much any product or business.
This slide basically lays out the path from theory to execution. Step 1, you have to identify that core value action. That's the habit trigger. Your entire loop has to be built around that specific moment. Step 2, engineer a mutual incentive. It can't be one-sided. It has to be a crystal clear win for both the person sharing and the person being invited. And finally, step 3, be absolutely ruthless in your measurement. You have to track your K-factor constantly. The goal isn't just to have a loop, it's to optimize that loop until your K is greater than 1.
When you successfully put this framework into practice, you arrive at a really profound and frankly, inevitable conclusion. You've created a perfect system where the very line between who is a customer and who is a salesperson, it just starts to dissolve.
And if you remember one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. Chasing exponential growth by just pouring more and more money into a broken, linear funnel is a losing game. True scale is achieved when you shift your focus from spending more to designing smarter. It's about building a product and an offer that is so valuable and so frictionless to share that it basically distributes itself.
Ultimately, the retention loop just works. And it works because it aligns the interests of the business perfectly with the interests of its customers. It recognizes that a happy, engaged customer isn't the end of a transaction. No, they are the beginning of a powerful, organic, and automated acquisition channel. They are, without a single doubt, your most credible, your most effective, and your most cost-efficient salesperson.
So the final question is really for you. Take a look at your own business, your own project. Where is that core value action? What's the mutual incentive that you could create? Now that you understand the mechanics of this engine, how are you going to build one to turn every single one of your customers into your next great salesperson?